Hello everyone, welcome to Canteen Cup. My name is Scott, and another hot day, but fall is just around the corner. I can smell it and I can feel it. Even though it's here in August, some leaves are starting to fall. We're starting to get some cold fronts pushing through, which is cooling down at night. I like it. Alright, so first I want to thank all my subscribers and Patreons for joining my channel. I appreciate your support. I appreciate the fact that you even watch my videos. I hope I'm, putting out some at least halfway decent content. I try to get maybe not bombastic stuff, but just good solid information and some advice and occasional story. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So I've been real busy, and I just have not had a lot of time to do a lot of different things, and I know I have not put out as many videos as I normally like to, but I have been busy, and that is part of the homesteading, neo-pioneering / prepping life. We're always busy doing something. I have taken some time over the past week or so and indulged myself in a little hobby as an escape. I consider that something for health, for mental health. If you stay wrapped up in this prepper, the world's gonna end stuff too much, it does affect your mental capacity, and you need to take a break. And so I have been doing that for a little bit, just to make sure I stay at least as sane as I can stay, which, depending on who you talk to, will give you varying answers to actually how sane or insane that really is. I do have some videos planned. I'm hoping to maybe get done in the next couple days. There are going to be a couple technical videos. I am kind of a technically minded person, and so there's going to be some of those, and I'm going to talk about one in this video and actually do that part in another video, because it may take a while. I am in the process of setting up a VHF repeater, and for those of you that are not into radio communications, what a repeater does is it repeats. It takes your signal and then retransmits it on a different frequency. The benefit for that is it extends the range of your radio. An example is, if I have a little handy talkie which does not have a very good range, and I can talk to a repeater that's on a hilltop, my handy talkie, instead of being able to talk to maybe a quarter or half a mile, can now talk to maybe 30 miles. And that's a rough, guesstimate. Not every repeater goes 30 miles. Some go more, some go less. But that's kind of the gist of the idea. This video is not about explaining the intricacies of repeaters. In order to make that happen, a repeater must be able to receive and transmit at the same time on the same antenna. And again, this is generally speaking. But the problem with that is, if you transmit into a receiver at full power on the same antenna, you theoretically could destroy that receiver. You would overdrive it and damage it. There is a device, and it's called a duplexer. And what this duplexer does is it only lets the receiver receive on a certain frequency, and only lets the transmitter transmit on a certain frequency. They create what's called a notch, which, again, this is beyond really what this video is about, but suffice to say that one of the things a repeater does is it receives on one frequency and transmits on another, in VHF range of amateur radio, that's about 600 kilohertz apart. So I'm putting together a repeater, and it's a D-Star repeater. It's a digital repeater. So again, this is not about that. If you Google D-Star, you'll find out more about that. And I went to buy a duplexer, and they are fairly expensive. They can go, $1,000 to $2,000. Anyhow, I found one that was suitable for my purposes for about $500, and I bought it. Now, these duplexers are tunable. In other words, I can tune the receive frequencies to the ones I'm going to use for my repeater, and the transmit frequencies. And you do that, on the case of mine, with a rod, and you slide it in and out of the duplexer until you tune it to the frequencies you want to use. And there's 4 rods. Again, this is just an overview for you guys that are hams. I just don't have enough video time to do this, so I'm talking in very general terms. Well, when I got this repeater, when I got this duplexer and I tried to tune it, the person who owned it prior to me had cut the rods and made them shorter than what they originally were, and I could not tune it down to the frequencies I'm using for my repeater. And that creates a headache. And so I called the company, which is Sinclair Technologies, a company out of Canada, and I got their tech support. And I almost had to pull an eye tooth to get information on what I needed to fix this problem. And we determined that if I can buy just the adjusting rods from them, I can go ahead and just replace them myself, and then I'd be back in business. So I asked them to send me a quote for these rods. I need 4 of them. And so I got the quote, and they wanted $90 a rod. It's $90 a rod. And then they wanted $320 to ship those rods. That's more than I paid for the whole duplexer. So of course I got mad, and I took the duplexer apart. And again, the next video will be about that. But what I was waiting for, I was hoping they would send me the rods, and then I can see what I was replacing before I took the duplexer apart, and maybe took it apart too far or not enough. But I got mad when they tried to sell me those things and charge me that much money. The $90 a rod, I can kind of see that companies do that. They don't like to sell spare parts, and so they soak you. And I was kind of okay with that. But when they said $320 to ship some rods, and let me tell you that these rods are made out of a 1/4 inch steel. You can buy them at Home Depot for about $4 a pop. And so even with the shipping, you're only talking a couple pounds, and not a very big package. I think they only need to be 24, 28 about 28 inches long. And so I took it apart, and the rod that you adjust with on the outside of the duplexer is connected to an aluminum tube inside the duplexer. Again, the next video I'll show a breakdown of me doing the repair. But what I discovered is, and this is one of the rods I took apart, this is it. It's a 1/4 inch rod, and that thread you see is a 1/4-20 thread at the end of the rod, and this rod is short, and they wanted to charge me $90 a pop for that. And so of course I went down to my local hardware store, and I bought 4 36-inch rods, 1/4 inch steel, and I didn't have a quarter 20 die, so I got a quarter 20 die, and I had to buy a wrench so I can thread them myself. And I used to work as a millwright, so I know how to do that. And I've got maybe $25 invested in the whole thing, and maybe an hour and a half of my time. You know, part of what I was thinking was that, you know, they did something special with the inside of the rod, and they really didn't. So I was kind of mad. And yeah, that part of this YouTube is me reaching out to Sinclair Technologies, telling them I'm dissatisfied with their service, because it took me a week and a half of working with this one service rep, you know, to get something, and then find out how ridiculous it was. Like I said, I didn't mind paying more for something, because I understand that that's how business works, but you know, there's limits to how much you should or should not gouge a person for. So my next video coming up is going to be my rebuilding this duplexer, and maybe even I'll do a little bit about how to tune them. And so that's gonna be one of my technical videos. I'm gonna do some technical videos. People seem to like them, so that's a good thing. Another video I have coming up that I have on the planning board to do is to talk about the Raspberry Pi and how it can be used in a prepper sort of way. And I think it's a really good, it's a really good little computer, and they're cheap, but they can be used in a lot of different ways for a lot of different purposes, and I'm going to do a video about that too. So those are two things I've got coming up. And then I have a couple videos I am going to post to the Patreon only site, and hopefully I'll get those done. So I've got a lot of stuff in the works. You know, we've just been very busy working around our property. We got a lot of work done, and we are kind of in between the pandemic lockdowns. I don't know if we're going to have a fall lockdown or not. Right now it doesn't appear like it. It seems like life is returning to normal. The stock market is crazy high. The housing market where I live, right now they're not building houses fast enough. And I've talked to several builders, and I've talked to several real estate agents, and there's a lot of people that are doing the come out of her, my people. There are people leaving in droves, and even out by me, getting out of the more populated, we'll call city counties, and moving into more rural counties. And in some of these places, you can't hardly buy a house. They're not building them fast enough. I mean, these houses, they're selling houses even before they're built. And what I mean by that is they have bought and closed on the house before it was even finished, and that's very unusual. A lot of times people will do what they call a construction loan, and they won't close on the house until after it's finished. But in today's market, people are so anxious to buy a house that they are closing on the homes even before they're finished. And builders, as fast as builders are building homes, people are buying them. And then what we call the standing market, or houses that are already built and been pre-owned or pre-lived in, used. We call it standing stock, whatever you want to call that. They're selling, a lot of these homes are selling in less than a week, and they're getting full market value. So everyone keeps telling me that the economy is trash, the economy is garbage, nobody's working. Look, they're buying homes like there's no tomorrow, so somebody's making money. In fact, today I had to go out and do some extra work. I was supposed to have a couple days off, but I had to go do some work today. So it's just this constant going. But that's what I've got for today. You know, just kind of catch up. I do have some things I wanted to talk about. My duplexer problems. Like I said, I understand when I bought something used that there may be issues with it. You know, I understand that I may have to put a little more money into it. I wasn't worried about that. I was not happy to be taken or to be attempted to take advantage of. I was not happy about that at all. But I did have a solution, and I will show the solution. And for those of you that are in ham radio, if you've never seen the inside of a duplexer, you're going to see one here in the next day or so. So that's what I got for today. Again, hopefully I'll have a little more content coming out. It is a busy time of year. We are spending a lot of time getting ready for this possible fall lockdown. I'm just not sure it's going to happen, but you never know. So everybody stay safe and stay secure. We'll see ya.